Welcome everyone, join us today as we explore the amazing life and journey of Sandie Shaw, one of Britain's most distinctive and beloved performers, forever known as the barefoot pop princess of the 1960s. So let's dive in. Sandie Shaw, born Sandra Ann Goodrich on the 26th of February 1947, in Dagenham, Essex, England. Born and raised in Dagenham, Essex, a region defined by working-class life and the industrial heartbeat of post-war Britain. Sandie's father, a Navy man, as was her grandfather, and her mother a department store worker at Gamages, encouraged Sandie's interest in music and performance. She attended Robert Clack Technical School, where she was remembered as bright, tall, artistic and observant. Sandie was sensitive, empathetic, and imaginative, traits that later shone through her performances. Music came naturally to her. She loved singing from the time she was small, and though she was shy in some ways, performing brought out a confidence and emotional clarity that felt deeply personal. By her early teens, she sensed that music could be something more than a hobby, a calling that allowed her to feel seen, expressive, and free. When Sandie left school, like many young women in Dagenham, she went straight into work. Her first job was at the Ford Motor Company plant, where she worked as a clerk and typist. Alongside Ford, she took on part-time modeling, helping her earn extra money and giving her early experience in poise, presentation and confidence. She also continued to sing at local talent contests, quickly building a reputation as the tall girl with the beautiful voice. Her life changed dramatically when, at 16, she entered a talent competition at the Ilford Palais and finished second. As part of the prize, she performed at a charity event in London. By a stroke of luck, Adam Faith, one of Britain's biggest pop idols, was in the audience. He immediately recognized her potential and introduced her to his formidable manager, Eve Taylor, a woman known in the industry for her strength, business acumen and uncompromising style. Taylor saw star quality in Sandie and moved quickly. Within months, Sandie was signed to Pye Records. At just 17 years old, she left the world of typing and factory paperwork behind, and stepped into a life she had only ever dreamed about. She also received her stage name, Sandie Shaw, modern, memorable, and ready for a career that would transform her life. Sandie's first single, As Long As You're Happy Baby, released in 1964, didn't make an impact, but her second single changed the entire trajectory of her life. Her cover of Always Something There to Remind Me, written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David, rocketed to #1 in the UK and instantly established Sandie as the country's newest star. Audiences fell in love with her youthful sincerity, her graceful appearance, and her unique decision to perform barefoot, something she began simply for comfort, but which quickly became her trademark. Her follow-up single, Girl Don't Come, was an even bigger international success, reaching #3 in the UK and charting widely overseas. Sandie's voice carried emotion with an authenticity that set her apart from other singers of the time. She didn't belt or overpower, she delivered a soft yet expressive tone that felt real, relatable, and intimate. The hits came quickly thereafter, with Long Live Love, UK #1, in 1965, I'll Stop at Nothing, How Can You Tell, Tomorrow, and Message Understood. Her albums including Sandie and Me, both in 1965, Love Me Please Love Me, in 1967, and the Sandie Shaw Supplement, in 1968, defined her as a leading figure in melodic British pop. Sandie also became one of the first British singers to have a major multilingual presence, recording her hits in French, German, Spanish and Italian, greatly expanding her influence across Europe. By 1966, she was not just a pop singer, she was an icon of swinging London. In 1967, the BBC selected Sandie to represent the United Kingdom in the Eurovision Song Contest. Although she privately hated the chosen song, Puppet on a String, feeling it was sexist drivel, as well as disliking the cuckoo clock tune, she agreed to perform it. In Vienna, Sandie delivered a radiant, confident performance, barefoot, charming and expressive. She won the contest with a commanding lead, becoming the first ever UK Eurovision champion. Puppet on a String exploded across Europe, selling over 5 million copies and becoming one of the biggest hits of her entire career. It cemented her status as a global star. But behind the spotlight, Sandie was struggling emotionally. She felt increasingly confined by her image, and Eve Taylor continued to dominate her career decisions, and while Sandie was grateful for the opportunities, she felt she was living a life designed by someone else. Still, she remained one of the most in-demand performers in Europe. The late 1960s saw her constantly touring, recording, and appearing on TV programs like Top of the Pops, Ready Steady Go, and Thank Your Lucky Stars. But fame was beginning to feel like a cage, and she was becoming desperate for change. In 1968, at the height of her fame, she married young fashion designer Jeff Banks, a charismatic talent whose career was gaining momentum. That same year, she launched her own eponymous fashion label, where she designed and modeled the collection of clothes, accessories and shoes. Together, they were seen as a stylish London power couple, music and fashion intertwined. In 1971, Sandie gave birth to her daughter Grace, which brought deep joy. That same year, Sandie made one of the defining decisions of her life. She ended her long-standing professional relationship with manager Eve Taylor, after years of control and direction. When her contract with Pyre expired in 1972, Sandie withdrew from the chart-driven world of pop and pursued more personal creative projects. Co-writing a musical, songwriting, acting in stage productions, playing Ophelia in Hamlet, and Joan of Arc in St. Joan, and writing children's books. She entered an extraordinary artistic collaboration with legendary designer Air Tay, creating costumes and characters for the production. There were even preliminary discussions with filmmaker Federico Fellini about a film adaptation. Artistically, Sandie was exploring her deepest creative instincts, but privately, disaster was unfolding. Her husband Jeff's business had spiraled into severe debt. The pressure was immense, and because their finances were intertwined, Sandie's savings, earnings, and earlier fortune vanished completely. Overnight, her years of global success meant nothing financially. To repay the mounting debts, Sandie was forced into constant, emotionally draining tours, performances that gave her no fulfillment, only exhaustion. The stress was relentless. By 1975 to 1976, the situation reached breaking point. Sandie, Jeff, their daughter Grace, and Jeff's mother ended up homeless, living in a caravan in a field in Ireland. Sandie and Jeff traveled continuously for work, leaving Jeff's mother to watch Grace while they tried desperately to pay creditors. Years of fear, financial stress, emotional turmoil and physical overwork finally caught up with her. In 1977, Sandie became suddenly and critically ill. She was rushed to hospital for emergency surgery and came close to death. After her physical collapse, she experienced a devastating emotional breakdown, the accumulated result of 5 years of intense anxiety, trauma and exhaustion. When she left the hospital, Sandie separated from Jeff. She moved with Grace into a cold, bare rented flat, without heating, television or a washing machine, and their evenings were often lit only by candles. This was the lowest chapter of her life, but also the true beginning of her long climb back to herself, exploring Buddhism, which would become a central force in her life. Recovery was slow and painful, but Sandie gradually rebuilt her strength. By the early 1980s, she found herself drawn back to music, but this time, on her own terms. In 1982, Sandie married Nick Powell, co-founder of the Virgin Group, and later chairman of the European Film Academy. They welcomed 2 children, Jack and Amy, before their marriage would come to an end in 1995. She later found lasting companionship with her third husband, psychologist Tony Bedford. In 1983, she released the reflective, philosophical album Choose Life, inspired by her interest in spirituality and personal transformation. Then something remarkable happened. She received a heartfelt letter from Morrissey, lead singer of The Smiths, who had adored her since childhood. He and guitarist Johnny Marr invited her to collaborate with them. In 1984, she recorded Hand in Glove with The Smiths. The single charted, reintroduced Sandie to a younger audience, and marked her first major musical success in years. Their collaboration gave her renewed artistic confidence, and she later released the critically acclaimed album Hello Angel in 1988, again with contributions from The Smiths. By the 1990s, Sandie entered one of the most transformative periods of her life. She returned to university, published her autobiography The World at My Feet, and immersed herself in the study of psychotherapy, driven by a desire to understand the emotional pressures faced by creative people. In 1994, she qualified as a psychotherapist and soon founded the Arts Clinic, now Barefoot Therapy, a pioneering service offering psychological support to artists, performers, and musicians. At the same time, Sandie fought and won a years-long legal battle to reclaim ownership of her recording catalogue, a rare and powerful victory for a female artist of her era. Her advocacy expanded into copyright reform, artists' rights, humanitarian work, and campaigns with groups such as Amnesty International and AIDS charities. She later became an honorary professor of the Royal Society of Musicians, and continued pushing for fair treatment of legacy musicians and better mental health resources in the arts. Despite focusing on therapy and activism, Sandie still returned to the stage for special moments, performing at the 2010 Goodwood Vintage Festival, touring with Jules Holland's Rhythm and Blues Orchestra, and even recording the theme for the film made in Dagenham, reconnecting with the factory where she once worked. Her contributions were formally recognised in 2013 with an honorary doctorate from the University of Essex, followed by an MBE in 2017, for her achievements in music and service to the arts. In 2025, her influence reached a new generation when Jade Thirlwall of Little Mix released her debut solo single, Angel of My Dreams, sampling Sandie's original Puppet on a String, a tribute to the woman who inspired her childhood dreams. Today, Sandie continues to serve as a senior advisor to the UK Music Futures Board, a role she has described as her favourite, while remaining an ambassador for UK music. Though officially retired from performing since 2013, she still appears in documentaries and interviews, offering humour, honesty and wisdom about an industry she once defined and left her mark on. And there you have it. From her barefoot beginnings, to her lifelong journey of reinvention, Sandie Shaw remains one of Britain's most cherished and admired artists. Loved by generations of fans, she continues to inspire with her music, strength, and her unforgettable legacy. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on your favorite artists, just like this. Take care and bye for now.